Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower. Modern Grower is your source for time and labor-saving farm tools, such as the Paper Pot Transplanter, Quick Click Seeder, and the Jang Direct Seeder. Turn laborsome tasks into free time with tools by Modern Grower. From experience I've had talking to people, I see you grow in the shoulder seasons, spring, fall. That's a different style of growing than in the heat of summer. And then winter is its own category. So you have three categories. And this can probably be different for different crops. Some crops I get are more forgiving than others. Do you think, is it different enough, those three little pockets of the year, to really have to have experience in each of them? So you mentioned if you only worked at a farm in the spring, you'd see how it grows in the spring. But is growing in the summer that much different than growing in the spring that it would benefit you? Because in my mind, I'm thinking it is, but maybe I'm overplaying that. Maybe you as a farmer would say, look, hey, they're different, but they're still pretty close. If you see one, you can adapt to the other. How different are, if we look at the three seasons, I'm grouping it into three, saying spring and autumn are the same for the most part. You have summer, you have winter. How different are those in growing? And is it worth, do you really need to build experience in each of those? Or are they close enough that you could treat it as one?
I would go for the first option that it's radically different. Let's quickly look at winter and where people think we live in. When I say, oh, we've got no snow and no frost, they're like, utopia. Yeah, that must be the dream climate. And I was like, we don't get frost and snow because it's raining cats and dogs sideways. Your biology goes to sleep. And our challenge, this is all contextual, our challenge is we don't see the sun sometimes for 3 months, and sunshine is our major tool. We need water too, but we've got a water problem, twice the water we would like. And like even now, it's completely grey and raining. There's no photosynthesis. So our challenge in winter, your biology is asleep. Good luck seeing sunshine. And then once we hit peak summer, it's radically the opposite. All your management changes. Crops are growing faster. You've got more diversity going. You've got a lot more fine-tuned management, let's say irrigation, for example. So if we work together in winter, we're not going to be doing hardly any irrigation, but in summer, it's all about keeping the right amount of water at the right place at the right time. I think a full season will help you have more tools in your toolbox. And when I went to John Jevons to train 2003, I pushed out my time frame with him. I said, what's the time frame to maximize my experience? And so I arrived earlier and later. So when I arrived, it was coming out of winter. All the winter cover crops were pretty mature. And then we went from that transition of cover crops out, all of the spring, summer crops in, autumn crops in. And then before I left, it was going back into winter. We had all the cover crops back in. If you're just doing if you're an indoor microgreens producer, very different. But if you're four season, say Elliot Coleman's farm as well, I think if I was to train at Elliot's, I briefly worked there, but I'd be pushing to do the whole season. What does winter growing look like? And generally the spring is the long transition to get you've got all your successions and your diversity going in. And autumn, as the days shorten, you've got a much shorter window to get the winter garden planted. We flip the garden going into autumn or fall in 8 weeks, but the spring plant out is over 3 months. So they're different.
Yeah, and this is where it's tricky because you don't have that experience. It's hard to crop plan. It's hard to forecast yields. So you might say, I'd love to do a winter market. But if you don't know what you could harvest on any given week, are you even going to have enough to supply a winter market? If you have a chef customer who's on the regular and they want to continue buying from you throughout the winter, how much do you need to plant out to continue supplying them at a similar rate given that growth slows way down. To put some numbers to this, let's pick a common crop. Pick one of your greens. What does the DTM look like middle of winter, middle of spring, middle of summer? So how does that change?
So if I do baby leaf Mizuno and we do it really short, really high density, outdoors, this fastest, 17 days in summer, 45 days in winter. But if you measure the yield, the summer yield is way higher, and by weight. Just biology's alive, everything's photosynthesis is there. Winter, you get 45 days, so it's 2.5 times longer, and you won't get 1x, you won't get your summer yield off it either. It'll be a portion of it. Let's say you could measure that based on your crops, but it might be 60% of the yield from 2.5 times the DTM. And then if we stick with winter, outdoors, baby Mizuno is 45 days. Indoors, greenhouse, it's 30, 32 days. And you might be at 75, 80% of your summer yield. And once you understand your DTMs and your yields, then you realize winter growing for us, it's key. We're in retail. We can't just close our fridges for 3 months. But winter's not as profitable as summer. Your yields are lower. They're still there. They're good in the greenhouse, but your yields don't match the summer ones. And what I would love is for our city of 80,000 people to be a summer tourism town. So if you can match your growing so that peak summer, everyone comes to your region, there's a beautiful alignment. My friend's farm north of us, it's not a big town, maybe 10,000 people. But in summer, it triples. Every weekend, Auckland and Hamilton come as a surfing town. It just explodes. So as they've got their fastest growth on, their sales, their customer base comes to them. In our city, at peak summer, I know it's backwards, but we hit Christmas, that's longest day pretty much. And then school closes, everyone takes their annual leave and holidays, and they all stop their normal routines. They might be on holiday and so on. So peak summer for 4 weeks, this is all contextual, it's not our biggest sales of the year. They're good, but the average grower, like in Quebec, peak summer, it's all on big days, big yields. So that's why year-round growing is key for us, but we know that it costs us more to produce.
Hello, growers. Protect your crops from harmful insects with Modern Growers Insectanet. This top-tier insect netting made by Modern Grower shields your plants from pests and harsh weather, boosting your yields without harmful sprays. Insectanet's unique design allows 90% of the light to pass through and is easy to use with low tunnel systems like our Quick Hoops. It's soft, elastic, and durable, perfect for field use to help ensure that your crops thrive. Say goodbye to pest damage and hello to healthier, market-ready produce. Invest in Insectanet and see the difference it makes. Get Insectanet at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.